Ada from Poison Rock, and it's really an honor. I mean, I don't have to say more than that. Just we are with us. No, we show. How are you? So we, how are you? I mean, it's an honor. Just I was going back there in Sweden.
Yeah, it's going okay. I mean, I don't want to be too tell too much detail about my personal life, really, but
No, I
today
mean,
it's been a hell because I mean I've been going through this divorce for like 3 years now and shit like that. So everything comes to sort of let's say yeah, meltdown, if you want to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can
So it's
imagine.
been a disastrous day, but so I enjoy the evening, just kicking back a little bit and talk to you. Yeah,
That's
that's a good rounding off the night, I suppose.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like like a nice talk, a chit chat at the end of the day. Because for both of us,
Exactly.
it's the end of the
Exactly.
day. Let's say.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, it's no. Your career is kind of. I mean, is I think it's one of the most incredible in the music scene because you basically played in the most incredible band in the world, really in the metal scene. I mean,
Mm.
from like we were mentioning out of the scene, out of the recording, like Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Therion, but of course there are plenty. I mean, here I have Notre Dame, Memento Mori. I mean, there's so many,
Mm.
so many.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but what I'm really interested, it's about you. I mean, as small snow, like
The
before,
man, the man behind the mask. You mean, right?
yeah, yeah, like your musical journey, like you as a kid growing up, are you getting closer with music?
What do you mean, growing up with the inspiration of music, or what did you say?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. As you as a child, like are you getting in touch with music? Like it was your first experience with music, as the first thing you were listening. Why you choose? I don't know. To
I got to
read
tell you,
music?
but I got to tell you, but I'm trying to avoid the subject of Kiss because otherwise I'm going to
No,
spend the rest the rest of the 30 minutes just talking about Kiss
we can say
because
just
you get so hung up on that.
one time and
But
just we cut it off.
yeah, but in my experience, I still have to touch on the subject, of course, because that was such a life-altering moment when I
Yeah,
discovered Kiss Destroyer as a 7-year-old. I was like a real nutcase for horror comics, horror and superhero stuff as
yeah,
well. And I was listening kind of casually to what the older guys was listening to, like let's say the Purple,
yeah.
Nazareth, Black Sabbath, and Sweet, and so forth. And I don't like that, but it was. The thing that really clicked for me when I discovered Kiss Destroyer and saw the album cover because visually it really attracted. It was like the perfect transition from the comic book world with Marvel comics and horror
Yeah.
or the vampires and werewolves and all that into Kiss. And so that kind of was like a life-changing moment, and I got really obsessed about that. From that moment on, nothing else mattered. It was all about Kiss. So
Oh,
for about like a year or a year and a half or something, but which is it's an eternity when you're 7 years old, of course, you know.
yeah, I
But I
remember.
decided that, wow, this is what I want to be when I grow up. A
Yeah.
comic book figure. Yeah, a comic book figure, you know, character. So
You know,
yeah.
that's not a bad thing. Just in case someone can make your life in a comic book. It's
Yeah, but to me, I always enjoyed sort of music to be some sort of escape from the
yeah,
boredom and
yeah,
blandness of
yeah,
reality, I suppose, you know.
yeah.
And
That's how
you
it's supposed
can
to
just
be.
imagine. I mean, growing up in a blue collar city like Gothenburg in Sweden. I mean, it's just stones toss away from the original Volvo factory when a lot of
Yeah,
people work there and stuff. So that was kind of the plan for me, I suppose, of working at the harbor or the
yeah.
shipboard or whatever shit like that. But as a kid, no, I want to be like Kiss, and that is like very
Yeah.
very far fetched and otherworldly. I want to be like yeah, yeah, like a musician and also like a character, I suppose. You know?
So let's say that
So
you
I guess
start.
my parents weren't too pleased about that. I mean, that is just a fucking fantasy. But
Uh, I mean, but like, what brought you essentially, I mean, to join back in the day, like King Diamond as a drummer, because you were just a teenager. Yeah, you were a young guy.
no, Actually, the same week I joined the band, I turned 21, which was good because they were
So
living in Los
young.
Angeles at the time, and you can't go to any bars or anything like that unless you're 21. So that was like
Exactly.
a good
You can
call.
get
Yeah,
drunk if you're
yeah,
not
I know.
21.
Yeah, yeah. So how that happened? I mean, I would refer to the book and say you can read it all in detail because I'm going through all the ups and downs in my
Yes.
life. I would say I call it a rock and roller coaster, like up and down constantly. And you can read all about that in great detail because I mean I befriended Mickey D when I was 13 years old and
Yeah.
had just started to play the drums, and I was like totally blown away by seeing him, practicing
Sure.
in my school. And he still is 5 years older than me, so he was 18 at the time and
Yeah.
had been playing for 13 years, and I was only 13 years and just like a beginner.
Yeah.
So he became a very, like a,
Sure.
let's say, teenage idol and role model in so many ways,
Yeah.
more ways than I could actually fathom back then.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
in later years, I also realized that he was a guy you who had the guts and belief in himself to take the leap to get out of, if I would call it, this shithole and to become an
Yeah.
international drummer and rock star and all that. And that is kind of unheard of back in those days. I mean, no Swedish bands ever went. Maybe they went to Norway or Denmark or something like that. But
Yeah.
but to go to America and all that's unheard of, basically.
Yeah.
But so he's been like a role model and also my mentor in a lot of ways and a good friend since 40
Since
years
then.
back, of course. Yeah.
That's amazing
Yeah.
because, of course, like you mentioned the book. For people that are unaware of that, you have published your own book, which is kind of an autobiography but it's as well like a story of heavy metal, see through your eyes, which, in my opinion, is something that everyone should have because reading the history of heavy metal, of metal itself, rock and roll, how we want to call it, with the eyes
Mm.
of different musicians, is always beautiful because we can create our own. It's like an escape, like tales for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
talk
but
about the book as well because it's important. And first of all, where the people can buy the physical copy of the book. There is
yeah,
the book
everything
too.
is the easiest way to buy it is like www.snowyshaw.net. That's my web shop, and I have
Yeah,
all my albums and
yeah.
the books, of
I was
course,
scrolling it.
t-shirts,
Yeah.
a lot of merchandise and all that. And then you get a signed copy, and don't
Oh,
be frightened about the price or anything like that because it's like 455
oh my
pages
God.
and it's like this thick and
It's
it's
the
also a
Bible.
hard copy. Yeah, so it's like I figured that how many times do you write your own autobiography or memoirs,
Once.
if you will? I mean, you do
Once.
that once in life, so you
Yeah.
better do it good. You better
Yeah.
put your heart and soul into it, making it as
In
good as you
beautiful.
possibly can.
And I mean, how I did you I mean, because of course we can choose to write music to like say our memoir. So what brought you to choose to write a book about your life?
What do you mean? What project would I write? Can you repeat the
Like
question, please?
what I mean, why did you decide to write a book about all of it? Instead,
I
for
can tell you about
example,
that.
writing
I
music,
can tell you
making
about that.
podcasts.
The thing is that what initially got me started to write a book, I never thought about that because
Okay.
obviously I've never been writing any books before. I never had any ambitions in that area or territory. And to be totally honest with you, I haven't read that many books either. Maybe a
Okay.
handful of biographies, and I tend to like to read whether it's whoever it is,
Yeah, sure.
what's behind that person, how come that person became so weird or eccentric or like
Yeah.
whatever it might be. Gives you some sort of insight and explanation about that person's character and all that. But I came home because actually I kept writing on this off and on for 10 years. I came
Okay.
off, yeah, I was writing, I came home from a tour after a year. We were went on a world tour throughout 2007 with Therion throughout the whole year. And when I got back, I mean, it was such a disaster. I had no place to live, and I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. It was like so much turmoil going on in life. I got mugged in San Francisco and lost all my shit. You know, it was like such a terrible.
Like you mentioned, a roller coaster.
Anyway, long story short, at the same time, I figured that I must sort of calm down. So I got off this tour. I was going out with Death Stars, playing drums for 3 months in Europe, supporting Korn. But I said, fuck, I can't do this. I need to sort of land and to do a recapture my life or my energy or whatever. And around that same time, I turned 40. And then I went into this kind of midlife crisis. And I started thinking, okay, I'm back here in Gothenburg on so-called Devil's Island or Hissing Island. And I was like, okay, what the fuck have I done with my life? Now I'm a middle-aged man. There's no escaping. I'm just a big fat loser. I wasn't big. I wasn't fat though. But
it's a kind of way of saying, I got what you mean.
And I just figured that I haven't done or accomplished anything. I'm back here. And even though I had been on a fucking full year of tour all over the world, but at that point, I couldn't see anything positive. Everything was like black as night because it was in November or whatever it was in Sweden. Everything was like so gray and cold and rainy and blowing and, wind and all that. So anyway, I figured, should I jump from the bridge or should I spend all my money on a shrink for the next 10 years, 20 years to figure out all these unfinished business in my life or whatever the fuck it is. But I was like really desperate. So then I had this third thing that epiphany or whatever you call it came, that sort of suddenly came to me, like I needed to express it, to put black on white, to write down my thoughts. The way I figured, it's like some sort of homemade therapy. That if I
you for saying
if
that.
I can put everything down on, I never written a diary or kept a journal or anything like that. But if I write it down, then I can look at it objectively and distance myself from it. Maybe, sort out my problems basically. So I went back home and I did that for nonstop for weeks, like for 5 weeks or whatever. I didn't do anything. I was just writing and sleeping and eating. And all of a sudden, I sort of opened a window and saw the sunlight, like, wow. And I saw that as a sign of...
that was right.
The path of recovery. Well, it's actually working. I'm starting to see things in a positive way again. Because before that, everything was like just pitch black, dark. And then I saw that, writing about this, I saw that, okay, I've done so much, like I've been with so many bands and I've accomplished and achieved so much more than I could think of.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I actually got a little bit of I wouldn't say proud of myself, but I actually achieved quite a lot actually. So, and I thought to myself, okay, so I just put this project aside, but I thought to myself, maybe I should write about this, write down like thoughts and things when I'm on tour or working in the studio, whatever, every now and then when I feel like it. And gradually it sort of morphed into making, I thought to myself, maybe I should make other people would read this, they could learn from it, that it's no like walk in the park to follow your dreams and to try to reach your dreams, basically, it's no walk in the park, and you have to work tremendously hard and be dedicated and sacrifice. You have to make a lot of sacrifices, I guess, and all that. So anyway, I started thinking maybe I should make this into a book, and so I kept doing that. Every now and then I finished a chapter and put it away, and when I felt like it's, I was writing more, and eventually, it came around to it, and okay, it's time to wrap this up, and it's like 455 pages of my life journey,
that started basically, let's say, because of course we don't want to spoil all the things that happen in your life, and because it's in the book. For people knowing, they have to read actually the book. We have to read the book, because I think
I got to say one thing more about that. I mean, I've got a lot of positive receptions or response from
Yes.
people, because they said this is no bullshit fairy tale like the usual thing, coming from a broken home, making it big in Hollywood, doing
Yeah.
drugs, fucking chicks,
Yeah,
blah blah
I
blah,
get
all
it.
that bullshit. This is my story. It's a different story, and I'm very blunt. I'm brutally honest, telling industry secrets and business stuff,
That's important.
because
You're
a lot of
honest.
people have sort of tinted glasses on. They seem to think that, wow, this kind
Yeah.
of rock and roll fantasy, but it's like a fantasy, you know.
That's what I
In
appreciate
in
about.
real life, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just so many loopholes and so many backstabbers and so much bullshit, really, so you have to learn.
Yes.
You have to toughen up and be tough.
You have to learn, and if it happens, you have even to walk by yourself and get rid of the
Yeah,
shit. And if you
yeah.
learn to be alone, is the best way to go in life. If you have people surrounding you, that's cool. Otherwise, you go just by yourself and whatever. That's life. I
Yeah,
mean,
but I gotta say on that note, I mean, nowadays I've been with so many bands, and I've tried since I started my first band when I was 12, 13 years old. And I've been looking to find the perfect people to create the greatest band in the world, sort of.
yeah,
And I mean, it's fucking 40 years later or something. And I reached a point where, like, fuck it all. I do it all myself. So I'm playing
yeah.
all the instruments, doing all the vocals, and I'm recording, and I'm writing everything that I put out, like my music or
Your
whatever.
essence.
Just like my book, for instance. I mean, I design everything. I do everything you see. Everything you see and hear is it's done by myself, because when I discovered that Kiss album, going back to that,
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't just the music. It sort of happened to turn out to be a really great album, because Bob Ezrin is such an amazing
amazing. Yeah,
producer, and it was so let's say cinematic. It had all these special effects, like car
exactly.
crashing, children
Yeah,
crying, and all that. To
yeah,
me, it felt like
sure.
I could just stare at the album cover and listen to the music, and just lie down in my bed and try to fantasize this is like
Yeah.
a dark action movie. And that's been sort of my goal ever since. So I
So
can't really deviate from anything. What you see and what you
it's
hear, it's got to be for all the senses. And that is kind of hard to work with other people and translate my vision verbally to them. And I just figured it's so complicated. The receiver might have a completely different set of references and all that. So,
I can get
and
it.
it's so tedious or tiring, I gotta say, to do that.
Yeah,
So I figured
doing
it's
everything
fucking
by
easy that
yourself.
I do it myself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm doing everything myself.
So if I doing your own music like by yourself, writing a book, I mean, how do
Yeah, yeah.
you
But what
then?
I'm saying is that all the production, I'm recording it, I'm writing it, I'm singing, I'm financing everything. I put out the albums myself. I sell the albums. I
That's
design the all
I
shit.
think
So yeah,
that's something that
yeah,
I found really because for me one of the most important quality in a person it's a being
mm,
true to yourself, so that their own integrity, no matter what other people think. And you are
exactly. Yeah.
one of the most people that have this quality, like being completely true to yourself, that I ever interviewed and met. I only met like two people, kind of. One is she's in LA called no, in San Francisco, called Leather Leone. That she's a superwoman. And another one, it's the singer of Bulldozer, this band from Italy.
Okay. Okay.
That just
Cool.
that's completely the opposite people, and they go through the shit of life. They do everything by their own. And if even today, for example, they are just sitting home. For example, this woman, Leather Leone, she's not. She was famous in the 80s. She was like let's say, the granddaughter of Ronnie James Dio. He told her, "You have two choices, dear, to be famous. Or you keep your voice, or you take off your
Mm,
clothes to sell." And she said, "I'm gonna keep my voice." So, and
yeah.
instead of being naked and choosing to take off your clothes like many other musicians like her, she didn't get famous. But today, at 60
Yeah.
years old, she has one of the most incredible voice in the world. That's what I love, the integrity. And these are the role model, people like you, like her, that young teenager, they should
Uh,
look for.
yeah. I totally agree. And
Yeah.
it's sort of become more apparent as I grow older or something.
Yeah.
I've always followed my heart, just doing things by
Yeah.
instinct. I don't calculate, okay, I'm going to do this and that's going to bring me a lot of success or money or whatever, because that is not my drive. I mean, that's not my ambition. I mean, to me, it's all about expressing my visions or my art, if you will, to get my thoughts out there. And I mean, I could have made so much more choices that would be more lucrative, and I
Yeah,
could
you
have
could even
stayed with
join one
big
band,
bands and all that.
just say whatever the
Yeah, but I
say.
mean,
Well, I mean,
it's not the way for me. I'm not going to judge
yeah,
anybody else. I mean, if they're out for great success, fame and fortune, okay, go ahead. But to
yeah,
me,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's like having a clear conscience. I can sleep at night knowing that I haven't been a whore.
I mean, if a whore can go to sleep and be good with herself, I
Yeah, yeah,
respect that. We are
yeah,
fine. The important, like,
yeah.
I
But
guess,
I
yeah,
guess we all have different paths in life to
yes,
walk down.
exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
you talk about Dio. He had strong integrity,
Yeah,
and I respect that so much.
yeah,
Uh, that you follow your heart and you don't deviate from that because, okay, if you do it like that, try to make it slightly more commercial, then you're going to reach out to a broader audience and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm kind of
I
weird in
know
that
what.
way. I can't sell myself. I mean,
No, of
I am curious about doing a lot of things and deviate
course.
from the form and try out a lot of things because I like a lot of different music
Yeah,
and it's always exciting to try out new challenges and so on.
yeah.
But I won't fucking compromise. I can't really do that. Yeah.
No, but I understand what you mean. You know, doing this podcast, I don't know what to call it. It was supposed to be a webzine years ago.
Yeah,
You know, you have people with you, you have things, but then there are always this thing. You have to come to a choice, to a price, or
yeah,
they start telling me, oh, you have to make money about that. You have to,
yeah,
and it's not my goal. I was 18 when I started. It's not my goal. I can work, you know, like 9 to 5 or do some work here and there. I don't care. You know, I can
yeah,
even clean toilet, to be honest. I don't give up.
yeah, yeah,
But my passion is doing like this, what I'm doing with you, being in the music scene, doing photography. And I
yeah,
don't care if I get money from that. It's me, it's my integrity. And if someone comes to me and said to do otherwise, so to say, go to work to some label, go to work there,
mm,
why? I mean, if I'm okay with what I'm doing, I finish an interview. I edit the interview as I want. There is the music. There is the face of the musician who I should make money from their
mm,
face. And there are people in this business of press.
mm.
They make music, money from the faces and the music of the musician.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
twisting words when doing interview. And these things I'm completely, you know, I like to be honest. I say what goes into my mind, and if I say white, it has to be written white. You can twist
yeah,
them. That's why there are the video interviews,
I understand.
because
Yeah.
you can't change them. They can change,
Uh,
and that's what I like as well about about you, because you are completely true to yourself in every. That's your essence, I think.
yeah, I would say I wouldn't call it. You could say that it's like a two-edged sword or a
Yeah,
blessing and a curse. But
it is.
I am happy at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we all got to eat. We got to have a place to live. We got to
yeah,
have a comfortable life. But the honorable thing to me has always been to stay true to yourself. I mean,
yes,
that's basically
yes,
what yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought to myself when I was in Sabaton, I was like touring with them as a drummer for a full year all over the world.
yeah.
And they asked me, okay, now you must decide. You want to be a full member
So
or do you want to quit? And I said, this is probably the toughest decision that I will ever make. And I hope I'm doing the right choice. I won't regret it later on. I think I was 42 at that point.
yeah,
And we were sitting in flying down to support our Maiden on their
yeah,
tour, open air festivals and all that. And in a private plane, and we
yeah,
have like people serving us food and drinks and all that. And I thought to myself, it was the midnight sun from way up in
yeah.
Sweden, where it's like light all day long. And I was sitting there, I think to myself, I cannot ever get can I ever get this good life again? I mean, this is wonderful. How can I
Can I turn it
walk
around?
away from this? Am I going to regret this? But I came to a point that, okay, if I fast forward to when I'm a senior, when I'm 70 years old, and I'm sitting there in the retirement home and wonder, what if I would try my own wings and see if I can
Yeah.
fly and to follow my heart?
Yeah.
And they were the most amazing guys. I mean, everything from the crew to the merch girl to the bus driver and all of that. It was like such camaraderie and like good people basically. But I had to walk away. I have to stay true to myself. And I figured the least I can do, I give myself the chance to at least fail. At least fail at it instead of just wondering why didn't I try.
What if?
And I've done that. Yeah, but in my case, I've done that so many times. I quit Merciful Fate and I quit this and that and just kept moving on because that's what keeps life interesting. You never know what's going to be behind the next corner, and that's what
really,
makes life interesting.
You should do this. You should do life coaching. You should do life coach because what you're saying is really inspirational. Even to me, like what I should do tomorrow, like next. But I want to know because with your own music, Snowy, you think that because last album you put it out, it was "White Is the New Black" in 2018. You're thinking to
no. Actually, I put out one full-length album after that. I got to tell you a little bit about that because it was like this kind of strange concept album. Concept in such a way that this was during the pandemic, and I have been thinking for a long time to make an album called "This Is Heavy Metal." Quote sort of, "This is heavy metal, plain and simple." No, I mean no essences. It's just heavy metal basically. And so it was consisting of a lot of songs that I've been writing for old bands when I was in Dream Evil, for example. And the oldest song is a song I wrote when I was 16, inspired by a band called Torch. And I invited those people to, like the guitar player to do a guest solo, and the singer from this band Torch that I befriended, 20 years later or something. And he was, sharing the vocals with me. So I put out one single song each month digitally. So I put out one January, February, March, and so all the way up to December. And then I collected it all on a double vinyl and also CD. And that was kind of an exceptional. I had your guy, Steve Sylvester. He was, because I saw Death SS open up for King Diamond back in Milano in 1990, and I was like so blown away by this, by the stage show and all that. I was like, wow, this is so underground and occult and mysterious and all that. So I wanted him, and I had on that same song I also had Hank Sherman from Merciful Fate, and I had Chuck Moll from Dark Funeral. So I had a lot of guests, and I invited so many people, like my old, old friends and teenage idols. I should have, let's say, Ken Hensley, who was supposed to play keyboard from Uriah Heep. He's like a big, one of my heroes, but he passed away, unfortunately. Dan McCafferty from Nazareth, that I've been my favorite singer since I was a kid, he was supposed to do that. But he was in such a bad shape, and then he died not so long after that. And I was in contact with Susie Quattro that I liked since I was a kid. Wow, I should have her in the song. So I took the opportunity to during the pandemic, everything was shut down, and I contacted Biff Byford from Sax and all these people, and they could record it in their home studios or in their, everybody, because of the lockdown, everybody was like positioned. They couldn't say, no, sorry, I can't do it. I'm on tour. No, you're not. The world is closed down. But the interesting thing is that the format of an album is pretty much dead nowadays, even though we grew up with that and listening to two sides, since we swap over the vinyl and all that. But now the average consumer, they listen to streamed music on Spotify, and it's just singles. It's just one song. So they pick like the raisin from the cookie, and they don't they don't listen to the whole thing and absorb the whole atmosphere, So I was like putting out one single every month and then collected it. So that was kind of the concept,
So your latest work, about
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, but
about snowyshaw?
after I put out that vinyl, it came out, let's say, what was it? Yeah, 2022. Yeah, in the beginning of 2022. Yeah.
So,
And after that, I put out also. I got eventually, after 20 years of legal battle with my old French company that I was signed to with Notre Dame, I got all the rights back, so I could re-release all those albums. But I started out doing something called Monster Hits, the Beast instead of the Best, the Beast of Notre Dame. Yeah, and so I put that out like on all the digital platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and so forth. And I sort of fixed them, like remastered and sort of fixed all these songs and all that. And I also put it out on CD, and I was like thinking of making a double vinyl for that, but it hasn't come to that really. But on what another funny thing though is that when I put that out, it was one of those American guys who wrote on my official Facebook page and said, "Hey, what about cassettes?" And I said, "Okay, if you're willing to put up 3,000 euros to print 200 cassettes, go ahead." And he said, "Yeah, I am." So okay, yeah, and I sorted everything out. So we did a split. He paid for everything, and I printed 200 cassettes in England. I did all the designs and all that, and made sure everything worked out. And I sent him 100 cassettes, and I sold the rest. But then I sort of when I did catch up with him later on, I said, "Oh, how are things going? Are you selling anything?" "Oh, it's not as good as I expected. I sold like maybe 10." But nobody buys cassettes anymore. But I've given them away to a lot of friends and all that because it's like a collector's item. It looks really cool. It looks like this, by the way. So it has this sort of what do you call that? Wraparound thing. Old pictures and Vampirella and all that. So I don't know if you can see that here, but so it's like, black on that side and white here. White is the new black, right? and all these cool pictures and all that. So it's really, really cool, I gotta say. A collector's item.
And these are always available on your website.
Yeah, everything is there. I mean, everything. So I mean, you can buy, like signed drum heads that I've recorded when I recorded drums for someone else, for example, because I'm doing a lot of session work for others, like doing vocals, doing drums and bass or whatever. Tomorrow I'm going to be in the studio to play on an album, to do a guitar solo. So I'm doing all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm selling drumsticks, used ones if you want that, or whatever. I mean, there's tons of cool stuff there. I mean, you should really pay a visit.
I mean, you can open a museum about your own career, apart the book, which is already a legacy. You can open like like the hard rock.
I gotta say, I mean, maybe I can show you around a little bit here. I don't know what I can say really, but a lot of people, like my friends, they kind of brag when you visit their house. They kind of brag about, "Oh, look, this is my man cave," they say, and they have like some posters and guitars or whatever the fuck it is, And I said, "Yeah, but my whole house is a man cave, and it's like 200 square meters or something. It's just a lot of memorabilia and like a lot of cool stuff, like gold guitar, Yeah, because that's what I want. I mean, that's also why I call it the Hell House. This is my second house like that. And that's what I'm thinking of buying in Spain too. Something like odd object, I got to say, that I can fix because I like to renovate and fix it, everything according to my own visions. And people are really impressed by, "Wow, how did you come up with all these ideas and stuff?" Because I don't know if you're familiar with a Swedish book called Pippi Longstocking. Do you know that? Yeah, but it's famous all over the world. Pippi Longstocking. She was like this orphan girl who lived in a big house, and she wasn't obedient really. She didn't follow rules. I mean, I don't want to go to school, and she had a horse in her kitchen. I mean, I want to have it like that, just from my own imagination. As long as I don't hurt people, I can just live my life as I want
As a
to, right?
bond. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. And I mean,
yeah.
and as well, this way of decorating your own houses. It's something that it's an expression of who you are as well, like your places.
It very much is. I know some people, they want to have it kind of tidy and neat looking and stuff like that. So it looks like a showroom because they
Yeah.
want to. Okay, this is fancy. That is kind of luxurious and this and that. But my place is just completely an extension of myself, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And my girlfriend, of course. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, of
yeah.
course. I mean, of course, that's it as well. Like,
I gotta say, her nickname. I talked about Pippi Longstocking, and her nickname is Pippi.
it's always good to say it. I mean,
Yeah,
but as well, like we were saying before, always offer because we were speaking about this animal love that you have,
yeah,
which is amazing. And
yeah,
you mentioned a campaign that you're running.
yeah,
What
yeah.
is about this campaign?
Yeah, I gotta tell you. I mean, from the get-go, it happened like this. I always been very. I always loved animals very
Animal.
much and nature and. Since I
Yeah.
was a kid, I was brought up that way. My mom is like that, and my sister and so forth. And always to take good care of animals and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, this was, I don't know, 12 years ago or something like that. I saw
Yeah.
in the on Facebook and all of that stuff that people were like really mean, cruel to animals, like taking puppies and throw them out in the on
Yeah.
the streets like a um, or in a river or whatever the fuck it is, and they set fire to them, and all that shit, and it made me so frustrated.
Yeah.
One night, I better do something about that. So I just took a picture of myself when I'm holding an axe like that, looking very
Yeah.
mean, and I took that from my files, and then I wrote "Be kind to animals, or I kill you." Yeah, and I just posted that, and then I went to bed, and I woke up getting a phone call from a friend who said, woke me up and said, "What the fuck have you done now? What do you mean? Okay, go into Facebook and see for yourself." And I was like bombarded with mails
And
and messages and all that, and a lot of response and posts from people of, "Oh, this is so good that a person like you would take a stand for something like that."
that's
and
important.
uh,
Yeah, of
and they
course.
thought it was such a good deed, really. And I didn't think about it. I wasn't calculating. I was just,
Yeah.
you know, expressing, wearing my heart on the sleeve, so to speak.
Yeah.
And and a lot of people say you should make this a poster. You should make a T-shirt out of this, and and yeah, and all that kind of stuff. And I
Something.
was like, why would I do that? And what I find kind of weird is that a lot of people were saying, people that normally don't, write anything at all. I mean, people that I don't know. I mean, it spread out. It became viral, basically. So people say it's good to see that a person like you doing something, take a stand for something like this. I
Exactly.
mean, that was
Because you
intended as a
expose yourself.
yeah, but that was intended as a compliment.
Yeah.
But the way I see, what do you mean a person like me? Yeah, because I'm this kind of heavy metal guy, and
Yeah.
they have all these preconceived ideas about what a kind of person I am. Okay, you've been with all these satanic bands like King Diamond and Dimmy
Yeah.
Borgir and so forth, and okay, you're a heavy metal guy, so you probably drink blood and set fire to kittens just because you're so
Yeah.
cool and evil. Yeah, but nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, and
Yeah.
most people I know, they are like really gentle
Yeah.
people, even if they are putting on like corpse paint
That's
and
yeah.
acting out like that, because that is just an expression of
Yeah, it's
expression of
art.
themselves. And yeah, so I was like, okay, I don't want to capitalize on this
Yeah.
for my own sort of benefits or anything like that. So, but people were kept writing about that, and I said, okay, how can I make a difference here? Okay, if I print posters, if I make T-shirts from that, and all the profit
Yeah.
I donate to animal shelters, dog
Yeah.
shelters, and dog rescues and all that. So that's what I did, basically.
And
And yeah. And people really like that, and I donated to several of them,
And
one in America and all over.
still active, this campaign? Still today, still active?
Nah, not so much active. It kind of just faded out basically.
Yeah.
But I still have some of those shirts
Yeah,
left.
because
And as soon as I
especially,
collected a
yeah,
special, an amount of money, I can donate it for a good cause.
because
Yeah.
especially nowadays with I don't know what's like I was telling you before. Here we had this dog burned alive, and I mean really in the city with people, like not in the night, like
Yeah, but
like
that's
you,
fucking insane.
yeah.
I don't. I
If you go in the center, that's separate. And if you go into center of Gothenburg and they burned the dog there, it's the same. They did exactly the same things. They went to the center of the city of Palermo to take a dog and burn it. They went into the station, central in the train station of Palermo, and I don't know, he killed a cat. Like this, and there was no law, nothing, no one do. In north of Italy, they shoot bear without no fault at all, because I don't know, men went into the bear, like their own trial, the bear trial. So that this is the bear space, the invader space.
Yeah, exactly.
And they put it in jail. I don't know, like it was kind of I don't know, a felony. They put this poor bear there, and I don't know if it's still dead or not. And this is insane because in Sicily we have thousands of deers. They brought the deer in Sicily. I mean, we didn't choose, they brought it. Of course, they multiplied. And now, because they don't like it, they put it like into the cage and shoot to them. What it's like, but it seems like to be back in the hollow, and I don't know, back into the Nazi period. And people are not doing nothing, say, oh, it's okay because they ruin the harvest, all these shitty things to justify to selling meat for the deer's case. But the dog, something going to the city, something that you should
yeah, this must have been an isolated event, right? Or thing
this is
happening, because
happening
I mean it
in
doesn't
Italy.
happen
This is
regularly.
happening even in different parts of Italy, happen with different animals, with
But
different
why?
people, because people, I
But
think,
why?
they are fucked up in their mind nowadays.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
what kind of people are there? Are there psychopaths, or they
Yeah,
are like?
I think they are psychopaths, or because of course, if you kill a dog, if you kill an animal, because it's always a human and an animal, someone living. I mean, which is the step between killing a person? I mean, next time could be a person. So no one is doing nothing, and of course, I think that it's important when people stand like what you did, put yourself out there and say stop this violence, as something that a lot of people that are trying to do. But I think like your campaign is real noble. So maybe one day, if you think to bring it back, I think you can do like some kind of GoFundMe. I think it will go
Yeah,
really
but
well.
to be honest, I've been thinking, and I kind of aired my thoughts a little bit, and I said, I can see myself down the road,
Yeah,
when I get older or something, that I should open a dog shelter or an animal
yeah,
shelter, take care
yeah.
of rescues and all that. And
Rescue
people say,
dogs.
yeah, but you can do both. You can do both that and music. Yeah, that's perfect. I can do two different kind of
Helpful.
line of works or
Yeah.
businesses that none of them is very lucrative. I still
but
don't
uh,
fucking eat.
but you
Yeah.
bring anyway good in the war, because in that
Yeah.
way you're helping animals, helping
Yeah.
them with the shelter,
Yeah.
and with your music you're helping people, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta say, I mean, if I would see that I can't be responsible for
Yeah,
my actions,
I'm the
I
same.
would have totally, completely lost it.
I'm the same. That's why I said it's better that I don't drive into the center of the city, that I avoid the city, because I can't respond for my action. Because and nowadays this person that do this to this dog, it's in a psychic world, but I don't know for how long they can keep him there, because public health probably throw him away in the city again. So let's hope that someone.
Yeah, but why is people so much against death penalty? It's a fucking blessing.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
for
same
the
thing with
rest of the
pedophile.
community.
It's the same thing with pedophile or
Yeah,
people who
definitely.
committed rape.
Yeah, definitely. I can
Yeah,
agree 100%, because they've tried that in the big country in the West, in America. They have everything
yeah,
supervised. They've been
Yeah.
put in specific prisons for all pedophiles and what they
Nothing
call it,
more.
like,
When you are
and
a pet, they
child
say,
molesters.
yeah,
And you can't
they don't
change them.
heal.
You can castrate
No.
them. You can cut off their dicks or something, but it
Yeah.
doesn't change because
No.
they're gonna hurt kids
Yeah,
anyway.
because they say this. We had a girl again here. That's how fucked up here. Like here sometimes, this poor girl. She was walking with her friend. I don't know. I mean, she can do whatever she wanted. She would like to sleep with one more than one guy. That's her choice. But she's been raped by 7 guys. That's disgusting. And they left on the road. And they are telling her that she was a whore. That's kind of this. And this guy are young guys. They are just in jail. That's
What kind of guys are they?
teenager. I mean, 21 years, good family. That's the scariest things. People, guys that I can see even on my balcony, probably. And that's the things that you walk in the country and in the city, and the girls here are afraid to walk because they don't know who you can meet. Even in the fucking dating app, who you don't know you can meet. And with this
But
thing,
that's really disgusting. I mean,
yeah,
I don't trust in the Justice Department or the right
not me neither, because
system
they
anymore.
are outside. Because you can
Yeah, but
do
the thing is,
anything.
I mean, this is a really tough topic, and it really
Yeah,
disturbs me. That's why I've been writing songs like a army of Dexters. You know the TV series Dexter, right?
yeah,
Yeah, he kind of people who somehow the justice system, they kind of slipped away, pedophiles and all this,
yeah,
rapists and all that, and there's got to be a higher justice. Someone got to
yeah,
take care of them, like the
yeah,
Punisher or something like that. So he sliced them up. So I was like begging for an army of
yeah.
Dexters to
Dexter's,
take
yeah.
out all the bad apples. You got to clean that up.
Yeah, because unfortunately, sometimes if there is no justice, that's when people, the public, just the population, do justice by themselves. And then when you do justice by yourself, it's you that you got punished, not the opposite. This is how bad works.
Yeah, but
And
that's what they call vigilantes who take
yeah,
the law into their own hands, I suppose. Because if
yeah,
the police or the justice system can't
yeah,
protect
here it
the
doesn't work.
citizens, or you gotta take
Unfor-
take care
yeah.
of the problem yourself, I
Yeah,
suppose.
unfortunately, we have here something in Sicily that we take with us for ages. I think as decades. Even if the view is changed, the mafia die. I mean, completely shut it down. But we have these things called omerty. People see and people don't talk.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we, especially in the countryside, but even in the city, it's everywhere. I think it's spread all over the world, to be honest. But here we have that. If something happened, I don't know, someone steal the car in buildings, like they stole a car, no one sees anything. It's pretty impossible. I mean, you saw something, and you don't speak because you're afraid. And that's the worst thing. You shouldn't be afraid. For example, we are speaking about that. It's gonna be on an interview. I'm not scared of anything. Many times people send me messages like disgusting messages. What's the problem? We just
Yeah.
speak, block them, report them, and if they can do anything, I'm a grown up woman. I'm not a kid. And
Yeah, but the whole world
yeah,
nowadays, I have, let's say, my outlook on the future isn't very light.
yeah,
It's completely bleak and dark, and I
yeah,
think we are being duped and manipulated, and everything is
yeah, I
bullshit.
agree with
We're
you
being lied to
100%.
by all the politicians, and especially mainstream media and all that. They all have a hidden agenda, and I don't want
Exactly.
to go too much into those
Yeah, yeah.
conspiracy theories
But
or anything like that.
that's
But
why
you
we
know,
never should look to the
yeah,
news.
but going back to slightly more positive, like I showed you my tattoo, the latest one,
Yes.
here and now,
And now
because yeah,
that's the best way of living.
yeah, but there are no guarantees, and I can guarantee you this much though, that I live by the motto that embrace, seize the day, because it's certainly not going to get any better tomorrow. It's like this downhill slope, with everything. Yeah. So it's just going to get worse. A week from now, it's going to be horrible. And it is horrible now. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
You cling to that hope that, okay, we're in a recession. The world economy is this and that.
Yeah,
AI is
exactly.
going to ruin everything. But
Yeah.
but we have to be positive and think that things going to change. But it's not. It's not going
Yeah.
to change for our just normal
Yeah.
citizens. Yeah, for us,
Yeah.
and
That's why I'd love to live.
everything is so fucking corrupt.
Yeah, that's why I would love to live in a cabin in the woods, having my own, my own harvest, my own dog, my own, just myself, and don't never go back in society. Just
I gotta say, I was born in 1968, and it means that I'm 55 years old. A lot of people sort of have problem with getting older and so forth, but I'm perfectly happy. I was 13, 14 when the heavy metal thing exploded,
yeah,
which was sort of my thing in life and so forth. So
yeah,
I'm perfectly happy. And if I would change, if I could be 30 now, fuck that.
yeah.
Definitely not. I grew up in a time where
It's
things made change, made
different.
sense.
Makes sense.
You
Yeah,
know, now everything is like so insane, basically,
exactly.
and I can't see anything's improving. You
No,
know, in such a way that it's
it's even
for the civilians or for people in general.
exactly, and it's even worse for the youngest generation.
Yeah, but okay, I sort of forgot my point. The point is that okay, you're 55 years old. Maybe I can live 20 years more, you know. Yeah, and you know, and then I'll be dead. Then I'll be relieved. Yeah.
I mean, because for things how are they going, let's say there's not the best scenario in the future. But speaking a little bit about the present, the actual plans of you, Snowy, like you mentioned, there's something that's boiling in the pot that you, of course, what you can say that you're planning to release some new music in the future or doing some shows.
Uh, as far as shows go, I kind of lost interest in that after
Okay.
been doing that for 30 plus years,
Yeah,
touring the world and so forth. So I'm not so interested in that. I mean,
sure.
the harsh reality is that rock music isn't in
Yeah,
fashion,
yeah,
whether you want to call it this kind of subgenre of metal
yeah.
or whatever. It's not so popular. So I mean, there's almost impossible to earn any money from music nowadays,
Yes, unfortunately.
and everything pretty much in my life boiled down to what I find interesting and exciting and stimulating and so on. It's to express and to be
Yeah,
creative. So I'm writing
exactly.
writing a lot of music, and
Exactly.
and uh, and I'm going to be releasing
Mute.
that music, not necessarily albums. Maybe
Maybe
it's
single.
collected on albums and so forth,
Okay.
but everything is based on digital nowadays.
Yeah.
From what I heard, very good, so let's say, well-educated guess. I wouldn't call it, because I mean I have friends who's been sitting along with these meetings with all the big
Yeah.
companies and all the distributors in the world. They said that in July 2025, all the physical products
Yeah.
for music, like LPs and
And vinyl.
CDs and
Yeah.
so forth, is going to disappear.
Yeah.
They won't distribute anything more. They won't have big storages with
Yeah.
everything, anything like that. So unless it's like Rolling Stones put out like a, let's
Yeah.
say, a vinyl box or Kiss or remastered
Exactly.
vinyl box or something. But apart from that, I won't be bothered with all that crap of
Yeah.
you know, holding everything in
Yeah.
stock and all that. It's so difficult. So I mean, everything has changed so
Yeah.
drastically, and it's become everything is on Spotify basically,
Yeah.
and
So
there's uh, no profit to be made
yeah.
really, you know, and so I just have to look at it like, okay, I do what I find interesting, and I always have what I
Yeah.
find stimulating to work with
Yeah.
and
Of course.
express and just get it out there. But you
Of course.
cannot, you cannot dig your own grave. I mean, okay, if I take
Yeah.
all my savings and
No,
and
of
and
course.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and print like vinyl albums, and
Wouldn't
let's
be.
say I do 2,000 of them and sell 100. Like then it's then I lose a lot of money. So you have to be smart and think ahead of that. But that is basically what I want to do: express my music and all that. To do shows, I see each and every fucking day, like planned, festivals or tours that they cancel because it's they don't sell a lot of tickets. And
anymore.
Let's just say an example for Europe after the pandemic. A nightliner, a double-decker tour bus, it cost, what is it, 10,000 euros per day, without driver or gas or fuel. So it's super fucking expensive. And you have to sell a whole lot of tickets if you're gonna make ends meet, if you're gonna make any profit from that. And so you see, like Anthrax, for example, really well established big act and all that, they announced their European tour, and they canceled that because when they started to do the calculating, this doesn't match up really, and then the year after, we give it another go, and same thing happened there. They just canceled it. So bands in America can't tour Europe, and European bands can't tour America.
It's true.
Just for us, like you have to go to the U.S. Embassy to apply for a working visa. And it's like 3 times as much now as it was before the pandemic. So it's like almost impossible. So to me, I mean, I can't say that I'm really bothered with that. I mean, writing my book, I have accomplished so much, like all my sort of childhood fantasies and my dreams and all that, just to realize that you come to when you come to that point and you expect to get this kind of euphoric feeling that you're in touch with God. Now I reached the top of the mountain that I sort of looked up to and waited for my entire life. And once you've done that, then the chase is gone. Sort of. Then the dream is dead. Then you have to find a new dream. So and I actually quote Lemmy by saying that when I lived in New York for a while, because that was a childhood dream of mine. Spider-Man, Kiss, and Manowar comes from there. I mean, that's the epicenter of America for me, at least. But so once you reach that point, and you're like, the chase is better than the catch. The actual what you visualize and what you're working towards and what you want to accomplish is actually more. I mean, it's like life. It's not the goal. It's the journey. That counts.
Exactly.
What's the goal with life? That you die.
Exactly. This is not a beautiful goal. Before I want to really to thank you, Snowy, for this beautiful interview, and just let's say quick hello as well to Pierre to give us the chance to meeting each other.
Quick hello to Pierre.
Okay. Hi Pierre, thank you so much. And
hey Pierre, tjena Pierre, jävla hora. I said something in Swedish.
Thank you so much, Snowy. I hope to talk with you soon and stay in touch. It was really interesting. Have a good evening. Really.
Thank you so much. The pleasure was all mine.
It was a beautiful interview. Stay in touch.
And Pierre, I'm sorry for saying a nasty word in Swedish to you. You're a great guy. Pierre. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nighttime is my time, and I am the ghost of a night.